He's always been a stalwart supporter of Israel. We're very grateful to welcome Senator Tom Tillis for some very brief remarks.
Number one, I think everything we need to focus on now is providing support to Israel, unapologetically and for as long as it takes.
I'll do everything I can to ensure that the United States stands with Israel and stands and fights to protect Jewish Americans.
We are with you. We are with you by blood. We are with you by heart. We are with you by your spirit, by our souls, by the same God. We are with you. And it's not just a political thing. There's 100 good reasons why the most pessimistic agnostic in the world should understand that the United States and Israel are connected politically.
It is our time to stare down the darkest demons of humanity and ensure that good wins. Never again must mean never again.
When I hear some of my colleagues saying there should be a ceasefire, I wonder, do they not understand what that would mean? That would mean a victory for Hamas, and we cannot allow that.
Evil must be exterminated from the face of the earth, period. You can't understand it, you cannot negotiate with it, you must eliminate it.
One of my major objectives is to make sure that we underscore in America the support for Israel is bipartisan. And we're going to make sure that is maintained.
The state of Israel has a right to exist. It has a right to defend itself. It needs to be able to do everything necessary to get back the hostages, to regain control of its own territory, to protect its citizens. There should be no equivocation about this whatsoever.
Let's put the sanctions back on Iran. Let's stop their ability to sell that oil. Let's really stop their ability to increase their bank accounts, because when we do that, we are eliminating their ability to fund Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and ISIS Syria and ISIS Iraq and the other splinter groups that are out there.
There's protests all around the nation. They're blocking tunnels, they're blocking roads. Why aren't they protesting? When will we get the hostages back home? Why aren't they protesting Hamas? Why aren't they protesting systemic rape and torture of Israeli women and children? I don't never get it.
The use of rape, sexual violence, and sexual torture against women, girls, and children are among the most horrific crimes ever committed against any people in our human history. The silence from women's organizations, from equal rights organizations, from humanitarian organizations is not only deafening, but it's an outrage.
I continue to stay in touch with the hostage families' members. And as we reach the 100th day mark of their unimaginable captivity, we cannot let the plight of the hostages be forgotten.
What I think for us here domestically has been most shocking is to wake up, not 2 weeks after, a month after, even though that would have been inexcusable, but I'm talking about hours after this happened, to the reality that there are people in our country who viewed what happened as justified.
If anti-Semitism continues to seep into our society like a poison, it'll be a different America than the Jewish people have known. So we must fight it with every bit of strength in our bodies.
And what we both saw and heard while we were there was truly beyond comprehension. And now that we see anti-Semitism continuing to rise here, we know that America's promise is being tested here at home. So whether it's college campuses, whether it's demonstrations in major cities, whether it's on TikToks, or unfortunately in the halls of the United States capital. I never thought that in this day and age we would live in a country where so many people would struggle to know good from evil.
But that it is a right for every Jewish student on every campus to go to class without harassment, to go to the library and study without harassment, and not to have to worry about who they are because of where they are.
We need to advocate for the nonprofit security grant program, and I am proud of my role in helping to create that program.
One of the things I vowed to increase funding for is the nonprofit security grant program. It will help religious institutions of all kinds protect themselves from hate crimes and terrorist attacks. And I talked to Natan and your OU leadership about this because it's so necessary. So I started this program in 2020 with $90 million. Last year we got it up to $305 billion, but I'm happy to say that in the supplemental, there is $1 billion for this program.
I am working across the aisle with Senator Chris Murphy and a group of colleagues to bolster funding for the nonprofit security grant program. This program helps both synagogues and with security and the peace of mind that your congregations need and deserve to worship safely, freely, and openly there as you practice your faith. I'm going to continue to work to get robust funding for this program and get it across the finish line.
These nonprofit security grant programs, we have escalated the funding, and there's another significant increase coming along. Nathan's been in the weeds making sure that occurs, and that is so vitally important for the safety in our community.
We've seen a rise in anti-Semitism, an exponential rise in anti-Semitism. We've seen a rise in attacks on our synagogues, on our Jewish schools, on our places of worship. I've done everything I can in the U.S. Senate to fight for the resources to protect our houses of worship and to protect our sacred spaces in our Jewish communities. I've recently, with my colleagues, asked for an additional $500 million in funding to protect our communities.
I want to again thank the leadership of the OU, Mitch Ader, Josh Joseph, Rabbi Hauer, Yitzi Pretter, my colleagues, Maury Litwack, and also the rest of the team, Miriam Schloss, Hannah Farkas, Lindsay Barsky, Jason Grossman, Jacob Kornblue, everybody who pitched in to make this event so successful. Really thank you all very much.